Hello and welcome to the Woolpatch Live. Yes, are you there? Hello, welcome to another Woolpatch Live. I'm getting the hang of this now. Hello everyone, Happy New Year to you all. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Woolpatch Show, February Live. Hello and welcome. You found me. We've had a bit of a month off, didn't we, because of two dudes. Oh! Hello, everybody. Oh, let me get myself sorted. Wonderful to see you all. Evening, everyone. Afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. Good to see you. We're in July, nearly the end of July. And as I look out the window here, it's sunny evening at 8 o'clock in the UK. It's Stuart here. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's Stuart here from the Woolpatch, my bricks and mortar shop. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show, the Woolpatch. Yes, it's Stuart here. 8 o'clock, and so many of you here. Good to see you all. We're back again. It's another month. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. It's November, a year on from what you've just seen. And as James says there, yes, the evolving hairstyles. It's Stuart here from my shop, the Woolpatch bricks and mortar shop of just yarn goodness. And yes, as you know, in the chat we've got Fizz. Yeah, she's looking after you all. If you're live chatting in the YouTube chat, she keeps you up to date with what's going on. She drops links into things and keeps everything in check. And more importantly, I've got Fizz in my ear. Yes, she keeps me on. Look at our schedule today, everyone. We've got so much to do in our hour. Let's take a look. If I push this button here, should show what we've got coming up. As always, we have our usuals at the 15 minutes past and half past. We've got guest of the year, and we've got our gallery and our news and charts. This week, or this month, however, we've got a special guest. We've got Susan Jane May, a knitter and spinner extraordinaire. And she's got some lavender blue spun. Can't wait to chat to Susan later on. That will be just after guest year at 20 past. So, can you believe it? A year of lives. Before I did the lives, I used to film in my shop. And I would then edit afterwards. And I would spend an awful lot of time editing. And most people, when you watch podcasts or vlogs on YouTube, that's kind of the thing they're doing. But because of my tech background and my teaching background, I actually quite liked the editing process. So I would do some fancy things too. But with the way technology was moving, and how we were having lives on Instagram and lives on TikTok. Do you know, I wanted to jump on the whole live bandwagon. So November was our first one. But before then, I think it must have been sometime in August, September. I was already friends with Fizz before she was Producer Fizz. And we were doing sew-alongs from the shop. Can you remember some pictures of the Alaska rainbow quilt along? In fact, I think we've got some fellow Alaska rainbowers in the chat with Jen and Susan there. We sort of built up a friendship. And I knew if we were to go live, it was going to take extra teamwork. I couldn't do it on my own. So there was just only one person to ask, and that was Fizz. So we sort of had a little get together over the internet and said, what do you think? And we had a go, very much kind of inspired because by Chip as well. You might have seen his stream, quilt stream. He was doing live too, and me and Fizz would watch him, and so I got some ideas from there, and thankfully she said yes. And a year later, she's now talking in my ear. Because at first, we didn't do it like that at all. But with the wonders of Discord and technology, she can now chat to me live. And I panicked because when Sue said, what did Sue say just a little while ago? She went, no sound. I'm like, what? But Fizz was there. She went, no, there is sound. Don't worry. Sue, have you sorted it out yet? Sue's got a wonderful new tablet. So hopefully I'm coming to her in crystal clear clarity. So yes, a year of lives. It's been wonderful doing it. It's a completely different animal doing it live. So much more engagement with the people in the chat, as well as doing the usual show too. Trying to work out how you pre-package it all before and have what you would do in post, doing it before. So like having pre-films made. But I absolutely love it, and I've loved having you join along for the year. I can see faces here in the chat. If you excuse me, if you're watching at home, I know some of you just watch on YouTube live on the telly, and some of you watch on catch up. But here live now, let's take a look at the chat and see who we've got. Oh, this is the Biker Husos. First time with you. Sent over from the lovely Andrea. Well, welcome. First one. You'll have to go back and watch all the other years worth. It's great having you here. And I think I also spotted someone else saying 1st Jan, first time attendee, welcome along too. So always welcoming new people. Those new people, if you don't know, this channel is really about my shop and the progress of my shop and what we do. And if you've been here for a year or more, when we used to edit, you'll have seen we had fabric and wool yarn. Now, as we've sort of grown and developed, we've only got yarn now, even more yarn. But it's basically what's going on in the shop and what's going on in the knitting and the crafting world. So we love having your company and love having you here. Now, so over that year, if you've been watching over that year, it's kind of tradition for the Woolpatch Show Live to start with some sort of garment or item that I have made or the friends of the Woolpatch have made. So here I am. You already know what I'm wearing because of the wonders of technology. This is an Irene knit. Irene comes to my Knit and Natter on a Friday. She's a wonderful, amazing knitter, and she's always knitting. So I gave her this pattern to do. She just breezed through it. And the idea is to have some sort of garment to show off. I might be wearing it, I might be showing it, I might have made it myself and whatnot. So over the first year of lives, we have what we call show starters. And for the last 2 weeks, I've put out to you all, the community, to vote for your best favourite show starter of the first live season, which went from November last year to now. And there were 9 items that you were up for voting. And boy, did you come out and vote for them. We were overwhelmed with how many votes we had. And if you can't remember, I'm just going to show you a quick little refresh here. But if you were waiting in YouTube, you might have noticed the trailer where you can actually see those 9 makes. But we're going to count down over the hour's show, if I can keep on schedule. This is already prompting in my ear. I'm sure we can. We're going to count down throughout the show and tease what's number 1 somewhere near the end. So let's go. First of all, have a quick look at the first 9 and then see what is at number 9, 8 and 7. we have it. Oh, I was a bit gutted, I have to say, that the Armani one wasn't higher than that, because I absolutely loved that one. But yes, they're your votes so far. That's the standing order for 9, 8 and 7. The rest coming up later. Just had a quick look at the chat too. Original Stitches, first time watching live. Glad to catch you. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Welcome along. And I know many of you are now popping in because Strictly finished at 8. No writing in who went. Well, I suppose it's out there now, so it doesn't matter. I think we probably all know who did. Evening to everyone. Good to see so many here. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Zeb. Hey, Jan. Hey, Mary. Oh, Julie, Claire. Another recommendation. Andrea, I need to send us something wonderful. Lovely to have so many of you here joining us. So I will tell you what is coming up for the charts. I think you might have spotted it there. Fizz has got into technology too. Amazing, isn't it, when you think Fizz is on over the pond in America there, how she can push buttons and things can come up too. And that's where I have to say it's great fun doing it together. We do our techs on a Friday. Yeah, would you believe we do the whole show? Because I think it's this idea of maybe the teacher and me. We want to put on a show to you too, because you are investing your time in us. And I know you can get podcasts where people just sit in front of the camera and chat. But I think that was one of our sort of ethos is right from the beginning. Let's give you an hour of content that you know you can dip in and out of in that hour and then move on. And hopefully you can invest in an hour to sit with us and enjoy the show. And we'll just plan that show. And as I say, tech that show. Well, sometimes we do it for more than an hour, especially when things go wrong. But yeah, so you're sat there. Now, who's knitting? Who's crocheting? Let us know in the chat. If you're sat at home watching, have you got the whole family there? Have you got the half there? Or do you banish your other half out to the other room? Let us know. Have we got any spinners in the house? Yes, let us know that, especially if you're a spinner or whether you do one of those drop things spinners or whether you do it with the cool electric machines, which I've just seen and heard about. Let us know in the chat. James says an hour. That's the... I could probably do longer, as you well know. Maybe we'll do some special shows where we can go for about like a Saturday afternoon for like 3 hours. That would be great, wouldn't it? Right, so yes, we're coming up to 8:15. Where we do the guess of the year. If you're new, it's just a little bit of fun where I show you some sort of pattern. It could be a knitting pattern, it could be a sewing pattern. Well, it used to be some sewing patterns in the past. It tends to be now more knitting based as we focus on knitting. We'll show you a picture and then you have to guess it. Obviously, it's topical because it's a year. We're celebrating a year live. And me, so yeah, it's a picture of me. I'll be wearing a knit. When you look at it, you've got to think, when was that done? When was that released? What year was it? And then after we come back out of the VT, you can write in the chat what the year is. All right, and then it's just a bit of fun. If you're not in the chat and you're just watching on a very big TV screen, you can shout it out. Shout it loud, I'll hear you, that's for sure. Here we go. So which year is this pattern that I'm wearing? Guess the year. Okay, so here is the pattern. What is it? I'm going to give you a minute to think. When was I wearing this? Are you going to look at my hair for a clue? Type it in the chat. I'll get them on the screen. Valerie, good evening, Valerie. You're there straight away. Valerie says 2020. Which year is it? If you've been watching, you might be able to guess. I had a fab photo shoot with Penny. Penny is a friend from my old drama group days from Diss, Norfolk. And she's a fabulous photographer. And we went into a park and had a great photo shoot with all my knits. Right, I'm chatting. Here we go. Mary, 1978. 1999. 2021. Thanks, Zeb. Evening, so Natasha. 2019. Hey, Lois, 2020. Oh, James, 2019. Julie, good evening, Julie. Susan, 2022. Anya. Hey, Anya. Oh, my word, that's been some time. Dawn, love it. Hey, Dawn. Let's see how many we can get through. Well, that's perfect timing now the music's finished. I have decided I will bring back the curls, Natasha. And it's funny, it was actually when I was making that montage, when James said, look at the hairstyles, when I was making that montage and editing it for the show, I actually thought, oh, do you know what? I did love it curly on top. Don't get me wrong, I'm not growing it all curly, because at one point it was down to here in lockdown. But I thought, let's grow it curly on top and have the shorts nice and crisp inside. Margaret says 2018, Adele 2015, hey Mrs. Beattie, 2020. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. And Sue says 2018. Right, well, it was a very recent pattern and the year was 2019. Oh, I disappeared. That was a tech issue there, wasn't it? It was a fabulous knit. It's by designed by Dells, who is part of the Les Garçons Boys over in Montreal, I think. And he did a few pattern designs. And I just loved that and did it and really enjoyed it. It was a fab knit. It's a hoodie. It's got a nice hood on at the back too. So if you want to, go and have a look at him and Max the Knitter, because they are the Les Garçons, and they're fabulous. Now, when I asked who's doing what, we had some fabulous people saying what they're doing. Oh, Margaret, actually, that's caught my eye. Are there any left-handers here? I wish there were more. I'm left-handed. I know. Some people are doing them, but what I have to do is I sort of cheat it. I take the video and flip it in the edit suite, so then it looks left-handed. Original Stitches is knitting. Size 4 bamboo for my granddaughter Sienna, top down. Ooh, nice. Enjoys crochet and sewing. Oh, another person as well. Emma. Oh, you don't knit, but you'd like to learn. Well, if you were local, I could teach you. If not, I'm sure there's a local yarn shop near you that perhaps could too. James says, sat knitting a gnome for my niece. Oh, yes. Oh, those DPNs. Oh. Anyway, well, there we are. Let's move on. Let's go to our special guest. And if the wonders of technology is working, I shall push. Thanks, Fizz, for that reminder. I have now unmuted. The computer should be ready. Let's welcome in Susan Jane May. Hey, Susan, good evening.
Well, good evening to you, Stuart.
And it's worked. You're here. Technology has worked.
Yeah. So,
Everyone, this is Susan Jane May. As I said, spinner, knitter, and artist extraordinaire. Susan, if you can, to the viewers, just give a brief background about you and your work.
on the spinning side?
Well, yeah, or everything, yeah, or knitting, or which came first, maybe.
Well, I think like an awful lot of people, when we all went into the lockdowns, I thought, yeah, great, I've got a lot of time because for art and things, and I hadn't knitted since I was a child. something again, and I'm sure lots of people are the same. Your grandparents or someone like that, taught you how, and you knitted an enormous scarf, and that was it, because the scarf took so long that you never wanted to knit
Yeah.
anything again. But yeah, so lockdown, so I decided to reteach myself knitting, and I found that I absolutely loved it.
Oh.
Absolutely loved it. So that went on from there, and then
And then you progressed
um,
into spinning?
I did, because what it was, I was knitting, and I'd done a little bit of weaving, because I've always done art and wall hangings and things, and I wanted lots of different yarns, and I thought, right, I'm going to have to do something that's more budget friendly. Then I particularly want to go and buy all these
Yeah.
fabulous fibers, so I started with drop spinning, um, to spin something that I could knit with, and I started making mittens, and then I designed a first color work pattern, and that was it. I was completely
Oh,
hooked, so, and the drop spinning then was absolutely great and absolutely fine, but I wanted to knit something a bit bigger, and I decided it was going to take me about 5 years to drop spin
yeah.
enough yarn to make a jumper. So that's when I decided that I would teach myself to spin using a spinning wheel.
Oh, wonderful. Now, for viewers who don't know, Susan knows me because she used to, well, she still is, but was a customer of the shop. Susan, tell everyone how you found me and came into the shop as a customer.
Oh well, I was looking online, and I was looking, because it was all during lockdown again, and I actually found your came across your podcast, and then I thought, where is this person? And at the time, I only lived in Sudbury down the road, and when I looked, I thought the yarn shop is in Long Melford, and I thought, why have I not been there
Oh,
before? Well,
yeah.
and then I realised that you were right next to a tea room, and I thought, things
Perfectly
are just getting
placed.
better and better.
But, go
And
on.
it was lovely. It was just so
Yeah.
lovely. And then I moved to Yorkshire.
That's right. I'm gutted, but I can still remember you coming in and the passion and enthusiasm of chatting over yarn and wool, and that
Yeah,
bubbled over onto me, and we were bubbling away together. And I can
yeah,
still remember it clear as day.
yeah.
So I was upset when you said you were going to move away, but there you are, someone else can get it, but we can still do it over the wonders of technology and the internet, and that's
Oh, we
what's
do.
happened.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you were obviously following, well, you bought Malavan and Blue when you were in the shop, but
I did.
since you've
Yeah.
moved away and you found out about those slivers I got, so
Proper
viewers,
woolly
if you
wool.
if you don't know, this year's collection, the 2023 collection that I sourced, was 100% Wensleydale. It was a whole Wensleydale flock just down the road in Great Wenham. And I sent it off to the mill. And as what sometimes happens with the mill, you send fleece off, and it depends on how the farmer has looked after the sheep, where the sheep have gone, how free they are, whether all of the fleece gets used. And sometimes it just can't be used. It just doesn't make good yarn. So when I got my delivery back from the mill, Paul said, oh, there was some that just wasn't good enough. But rather than binning it, he just made it into slivers, which was that basic, well, it's wool, but perfect for people who want to spin or felt. And I spoke to you about it, and your eyes popped out of joy, didn't they? You were so excited.
Well, it's because first of all, when you said, well, it's Wensleydale, and I thought that's a really nice yarn. It's a lovely, lovely yarn, which I've used many times now. And then, because when I very first came in, and I first bought some of your woad dyed, it was the Surrey,
That's
wasn't it?
right.
You dyed
Yeah.
some Surrey,
Yeah,
and
the
my
commercial
my
Suri
eyes
alpaca. Yeah.
saw that,
Yeah.
and I thought, that's not going nowhere except home with me. Thank you very much. Um, and then when you got the slivers, and then and I said, well, it's a nice spinning yarn. It's got a long staple length, so that means that each of the fibers are nice and long, so that you makes it easier to um, spin with a drop spindle or a spinning wheel. I have heard that those sort of long fibres aren't always preferred by mills
It's exactly right.
because
Yeah.
they
Why
can
is
get
that? Do we know
wrapped
why?
round. If little bits of them that gets wrapped around the machinery, we all know how strong the wool can
Ah,
be.
yeah.
So I kind of disagree with the feedback that you had from your mill to say that the yarn wasn't good enough because I've spun. I'll show you in a minute. The yarn your yarn that then you hand dyed
Yeah.
in with woad,
Oh my word.
and I mean there is nothing. Where's
Oh
my?
yes, you got to get your lefts and your rights opposite.
I know. There is
Look.
absolutely nothing. That's it. Nothing not nice about this yarn. I mean,
Wow.
it's absolutely gorgeous. The colour. I'm going the wrong way. There
Oh,
we
it's
are.
so
I'll get
hard.
used
It's
to
so,
it.
it's so
By the end of the time I've been on here, I'll know exactly what I'm doing. Then I'll go away.
yeah.
It will be good. It's
So you've
so
got.
I've
Oh yes,
spun
undo that. So that's. Is that? Does that make 100 grams?
this was 100 grams of
Wow.
fibre that I have a book here. I have a notes um, that has spun up into. I think. Just bear
That's
with
all
me
right.
a minute.
You get your book. Viewers, if you're live in the chat and want to know more, by all means, drop a question in. And when we come out of the gallery, we'll have 5 minutes doing some quick question and answers before Susan goes. So
Right.
if you put Q in the chat with your question, then I can do like a little search and find it really easy. I've spotted one already though from So Natasha, so we'll come to that in a minute. How you got on, Susan? You got it?
Yeah, yeah. So I have got it's 136 meters
Wow, wow.
out of for 100
Now,
grams.
now that's coming across as dark navy. I don't often. I'm not. Sometimes it takes me a lot of woe to get that dark. Is it that dark in real life?
It is
Yeah.
quite a rich color. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I've had. Do you remember a wee while ago you had? I think it was a white-faced Exmoor.
Yes,
You'd
I
done
had
a
one fleece.
sample.
Yeah.
Well, that was
You-
lovely. So, and that took. So there again, this is your woad dyed,
yeah.
and I think it was a different variety of woad.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it comes from plants.
Yeah.
So this took it differently. Where are we?
Yes. You see. So
That's much
that.
softer.
Yeah, that's normally the general shade. If I towards the end of the vat, I have to use a heck of a
Yeah,
lot of woe to get it dark. But I
yeah,
know that
that
the denim, the dark denim, is popular for sure. Um,
yeah. But it's
so
beautiful. The Wednesday
so
bed is absolutely beautiful.
so Susan came back to me and said, "Oh, because I think I only sent you off 200-300 grams worth of slivers of this fluffy yarn. I should have brought some in because I've got it in the garage. I should have brought some in to show. And then you came back and said, oh, I want more. I want more. I want more.
I've definitely got to have more because it's I think the Wednesday dad itself has got such a lovely natural sheen to it. It's
Yeah,
it's a beautiful yarn to knit with as well. And then knowing where the sheep come from and the
yeah.
fact that it's natural dyed, so it's woad dyed, and it's proper woolly wool, and it's English wool. I mean, that's ticking all the boxes for me. Or every single box you can think of, you've just ticked. So
I
I thought, when I put a post up on Insta right the other day, and I'm going, yes, 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 this is absolutely fabulous yarn, and I absolutely love it. And I bummed it out there on the social media, and I tagged you, and I thought,
oh,
just a minute, I know what's going to happen here. Stuart's going to get mobbed. It's all
be
going to get bought.
inundated.
I'm going to ring up and go, hi, Stuart, can I have some more? And you said, no, sorry, it's all gone. So I called you quick and said, no, no.
Right, well,
Yeah,
just wait right there, Susan. You can
of
sit
course.
back and enjoy this slow moment now as we go into the gallery. Viewers will go to the gallery, we'll see what you've been making this month. If I get to my right button. But before we get to the gallery, just want to do a quick chart countdown of number 6 and number 5 of our best show starters. So you've seen 987, here's 6 and 5. Did you vote for any of those? I loved that Moon Bumps shawl wrap thing, and especially loved going out into the countryside to film that. Right, so here's the time where we just slow down a bit. We get to relax, we get to stop all your knitting, all your crochet, and just look at everyone's finished objects. The pictures that you're going to see now have either been tagged on Instagram, and then it's notified me, or people have emailed me or even WhatsApped me. You can do the same. Whenever you finish an item and you post it onto social media, just tag us. You could tag us in the picture. If you want to be a bit more discreet, you can tag it in your comments after you've posted it, because I know some people are quite precious about their description boxes. Either way, it then notifies me, and then we get to see it. We get to make the gallery like good old Tony Hart back in the 80s. And you never know, you might get inspired and go, oh, I want to make that. Fizz puts it in the chat, the names, and then also she puts the link to my website where all the details are given. So if they've posted it and they've written maybe what the pattern was and what the yarn was, it's all there. So if you looked at something and you went, I love that item, you'll be able to find it on the link that Fizz puts in and then knit it yourself. How good is that? So let's slow down the pace now and take a look at November's gallery. Wonderful. There we are. Listen to this, Susan, from another Susan over on the other side of the pond. Let's move that down to there. The discovery of this wonderful community during the pandemic was surely a silver lining. Absolutely. I think so many of us can relate to that for sure. Okay, some questions then for you, Susan. So Natasha says, what is drop spinning? Oh, I've muted you. Oops. There we go.
One here with
Nope,
me.
you're
But
back on.
it's a little handheld device that has a little circle at the top and a straight sort of shaft to it, and you can attach your woolen fibre to the top. You take a twist, and then you spin the T-shaped, if you like, drop spindle, and let it spin onto free fall in the air, if you like. I wish I had one here.
It's all right.
It's
No
a
worries.
slower process. It's a
Yeah.
slower process. It's actually really useful for spinning. I find it still useful for spinning singles. So if you want to spin an unplied yarn, so you just want just a single one or a really fine single for maybe stitching. So if you're going to, I've recently steeked a blanket. So steeking is when you have created a knitted garment in the round, and you leave a certain band of stitches, or say you're doing a cardigan, and then you cut the fabric in order to finish and create the garment you've done.
Scary.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. But you have these stitches, and so a drop spindle will. It's a really nice introduction to starting to spin, because you learn to handle the fibre
Okay.
without. It's also a lot more affordable to
Yeah.
buy a drop spindle than it is to buy a spinning wheel.
Now, I know in the time that we've got, we can't
Yeah,
possibly go deep into spinning, and it can
yeah.
get quite complicated with plying it together. If you're making a certain weight, you've got to put a ply together and another ply together
Oh,
and spin them together. But Valerie says that lavender and blue yarn
yep.
that you spun there, how many plies was it? And I've heard this before, and I kind of know from my wool background, woolen or worsted spun, and what was the staple length?
Okay, so that is woolen spun, which creates a more airy, um, fluffy yarn, if you like. The staple length of your Wensleydale I would say it was about 5 inches
Okay.
ish on average. And what was that? And it was two plied. So yarn.
So
So you've got two.
there there
You're
are
twisting
two
two
plies.
two
So there's a
strands
strand and a
together.
strand, and
Yes.
twisted together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So and that, I mean, that's produced a lovely Aran weight, a classic 8. So an 8 wraps per inch to indicate the width of the yarn that you end up with.
Yeah, because I'm starting to learn a bit more about the wraps per inch as a useful measure for yarn, and I don't know whether it's how popular a technique it is here. Knitters in the chat. Let us know in the chat if you use that measure a lot to go, oh yeah, that's a classic Aran weight because I've got however many wraps to the inch, or whether you've never heard of it before. But
Yeah.
I presume you use that a lot then compared to
I
us sort
I
of
I do.
non-spinners.
I've got a little. I'm sure. I mean, I am new to the world of spinning. I mean, absolutely love it. So I spin every day, um, and I watch podcasts, and I've been on YouTube, and that, because that is really how I learnt, because we were in lockdown. You
Mm.
know, you couldn't go and do a workshop or things like that. Um, and one brilliant tip. I mean, I've got this wonderful little. Where am I now? Come that way.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful little thing here, which has got the numbers on and the widths of
Ah,
the yarn, depending on what you're looking for. So, do you know, if I wanted to spin an Aran, what this podcast showed me was that when you're first doing your first spins, your first two, you're looking for a 16 wrap per inch. It was a little new to me then. So that when you ply it double, you ply it the other way and it gets thicker, you end up with an 8. And I'm going,
ah,
really makes sense. And
yeah.
I'd been spinning for quite a long time before then, guessing, what I reckon that's going to be. And this wonderful lady on YouTube, she stopped and checked, and she had something like this in her hand. So as she was spinning, every now and then, she would just stop and see. And she also let the spin sort of ply back on itself to check as well, so it would twist a bit. But this, if you want an 8, spin 2 16s, was
Yeah.
like, that's
You,
handy.
you see, and that's the beauty of a YouTube, isn't it? How
Yeah,
we learn, how we find out about things,
yeah.
and that's kind of why I wanted to do this show as well, because it is a phenomenal resource, isn't it? And you can find so much, you can learn so much, you can connect with people. Before I left teaching, and I was doing like one of these lessons, PSE lessons with the kids, and we were talking about social media and YouTube in particular. Most of the kids were coming home from school and watching YouTube, not anything else, because they can find the content they want, that interests them, like you with your spinning.
Oh, this is so many.
Yeah.
It's such a world of really. They're lovely there's so many different podcasters and spinners and techniques, and I think everybody. I mean, I haven't been. I've never been to a workshop, so I've spun. For me, I've probably spin in a slightly organic way. That's
Oh,
a bit of this
yeah.
and a bit of that and the other, and it all works out perfectly for me. What I would say, I've just joined a local guild here. Is that if you've got an interest in spinning, and you'd like to learn, or you'd like to talk to somebody about it, you don't have a wheel or whatever, find your local guild of
Okay.
spinners, weavers and dyers. Just Google it, just go in there, find the main website, and then you'll be able to link through and find, and you'll find that wonderful groups of people who will
Oh.
welcome you with open arms, you know.
Oh, I
um,
love it. Absolutely.
good,
And I've
good
got a couple of
stuff.
people in the chat saying they use WI. Valerie does because she spins. And James, I know James, a spinner. Some of James' own spun yarn has often appeared in the gallery too. Useful for comparing yarns. And then before we finish, two questions before we go, if you can. Dawn says, the podcast where you learned spinning. Can you remember what it was? If not, you can tell me later
Oh
and we'll pop it in the show notes.
gosh, I think there would be several.
All right. Okay.
One particularly good one is a lovely lady called Lisa. She's over in the States, um, and it's soulful spinning,
All right.
or the
Lovely.
soulful spinner. She's absolutely brilliant because she will do drop spinning, and she also is a spinning wheel spinner.
Oh,
So, and
wonderful.
she's a lovely lady to listen to. Very very gentle, very clear.
Yeah.
Nice podcast.
All right.
Really good
One
one.
last question before you go, Susan.
Yep.
Zeb says, are some fleeces easier to spin than others?
Oh yes. Oh yes. That's a good answer to that one. Really nice ones to start with. Really nice. Really nice. Get yourself some slivers, like you've got, like the
Yeah.
Wednesday, like your Wednesday list. But Shetland is a really nice fibre wool to start with. Massam,
Oh, yes. I'm
Masham,
getting into
Massam
Massam.
is lovely. Um, and a great favourite of mine is actually Jacob. So there's three ones that I
Okay.
really like. When you get something that's a little more tricky, something like a Herdwick, which is more of a robust fibre, and that's not so easy. There's a delightful one, Manx Lochton, which is a rare breed, which can be, I think it depends on the fleece a little
Okay.
bit,
Yeah.
but most certainly Shetland, Massam,
Oh.
Jacob, you know,
Well, it's
start
lovely
with.
having you on, Susan. I wanted
Thank
to have you
you.
on not only because obviously the Lavin and Blue connection that you've
I
had
love
with me
your
in the
word.
shop. It's wonderful to see that yarn that's been local that I've got spun up being used and then turned into an art form itself. But also there is a spinning community here, and I know many of our viewers are spinners, and because we're now yarn based, we do knitting talk and crochet talk. I just suddenly thought, you know what, let's do something for our spinners out there too. So it's wonderful to have you on. I know Fizz has put links in the chat where you can find Susan. You can find her online on the Instagram with 3 accounts where you can see her generic work, then her spinning work, and also your artwork, which I know you're a fine dab hand with the old paintbrush. It's been lovely having you on, Susan. I'm going to say
You.
goodbye to you now, and as I say goodbye to you, the viewers are going to get to see a very special person. Jubilee is back. Well, she's not really back. She sent me a WhatsApp message to say congratulations on your first year. She's been jetting here, there, and everywhere. So I'm going to say goodbye to you, Susan, whilst the viewers
Bye-bye.
say hello to Jubilee. Hello, Stuart. Hello, Buntingtons. Jubilee here. Oh, I'm so sad I can't join you on this very special show. I'm here in my hotel room. Please excuse the attire. I'm in my dressing gown, ready to go down to see Jamie to have some massage and treatment time. Yes, because for the last few weeks I've been here, there, and everywhere. And the last 3 days have been with the King and Cammy in Kenya. But the sun has played havoc with my skin, so he's going to do some treatments on me. But anyway, I just wanted to check in with you to say well done on your year show of the Woolpatch Live. Oh, I remember doing it for the coronation. It was such fun, and such fun chatting with your community too, who are just wonderful. They keep coming back and back and back, and it's wonderful to see you're growing a lovely little community there. And I love the gallery too, seeing all their makes. Anyway, do you like my robe? Oh, the glitter on it too. Oh, as always, red, white and blue for Jubilee. Lovely seeing you all, and I so wish I could be there. See you soon. Hugs and kisses, everyone. Do the bit. Bye. Well, words fail me. James, she does indeed. It was still lovely to see her, though we probably got to see a bit more than we needed to. Oh, it was a fun time, and new people who have no clue about Jubilee, she's been a year in the making. Go back to May's, May's live episode where I was unable to do the show because I was volunteering for the King's big lunch out, whereas Jubilee was fresh from the coronation and she took over the controls. It's certainly an interesting one. Right, let's go into the news. Right, get my buttons right. So just some quick, short, little snappy news bites. Malabrigo and Brexit. This is for shop owners and maybe you buyers that like Malabrigo yarn. Malabrigo is a yarn company that has spin and make beautiful, mostly merino single yarn of all different weights from Uruguay. But their British or their European distribution site was in Britain, which is wonderful because if we want to buy that yarn here in the UK, it's really, really easy because it's just literally coming from down the road. So I had this yarn quite early on, probably 2018, 2019. But when then Brexit kicked in, things did begin to change. But I actually thought, this is not going to be too bad, because they've still got their distribution centre for Europe in the UK. So that'll be no problems. Obviously, ordering yarn from Europe is a lot more difficult now. Shipping has gone up, prices, customs. It's often sat in customs for, it could be 1-2 weeks extra, and then extra brokerage charges for people like UPS and so forth. So I thought, well, actually, Malabrigo will be great. But sadly, Brexit has even come to them, which is a great shame, because they were based in the UK even before Brexit. But I got a letter through on the email, and it said, this is a snippet of it. As you may be aware, the shipping conditions changed drastically since the implementation of Brexit. And we have had to open a new warehouse in Cheshire, from which all our orders are now being shipped. I won't tell you the cost of shipping, but it made my eyes water. The wonderful people at Yarnworks, which is the yarn shop down the road in Hadley, in the village nearby, they even said, oh, Stuart, do you want to go? We could split an order. We could just do one big order and split the costs. But as far as I'm concerned now, that probably means it's just a nail on the head, because it will just be too much to ship in. So I probably won't be, as of when my order runs out from Malabrigo, I won't be restocking, which is a great shame, because I love the super chunky Rasta. Stunning merino, lovely high-end merino. If you love hand-dyed merino, it was wonderful, like a single, and it made beautiful beanies. So that's sad. Sad news, really, because some parts of Brexit were good because there were companies opening warehouses in the UK, but to see them actually not being able to cope and closing that to have a warehouse in Europe, it's frustrating. So that's that one. Next one is buttons. Wax on or wax off? Let us know in the comments. Have you waxed your needles? Have you ever waxed your needles? Beeswax, or you can have here, if I check my notes, olive wax, olive oil, or coconut oil, because obviously some of you may be vegan out there and you don't want to use beeswax. But if you're a waxer of your needles, let us know. I saw this on social media and I was like, whoa, how have I not known about this? Because we stock symphony needles from Knit Pro and bamboo. Didn't know anything about it. But yes, the idea is you should clean your wooden needles, maybe with some muslin. Makes them slick, because obviously as we knit, the lanolin comes off from the wool onto the needles, and also the oil on our fingers too. So you must clean them and then moisturize them with this wax. It's an interesting form of waxing. So it'd be interesting to see what Sue says. I've used beeswax on sewing thread. I know. Yeah, Carol taught me that tip, but not on needles. Well, there we go. We'll try. I just imagine them being quite slippery, and then your fingers slippering about everywhere, like being on a bed with silk sheets. But I presume it all sort of sinks in and everything, doesn't it? Right, the next one. Oh, look at that. Pom Pom is pom gone. Sad news there. They did explain on their Instagram, but it's a wonderful knitting magazine, British-based knitting magazine, and I think they've linked with American too. One of those high-end knitting magazines with patterns and articles in. But they did a message on Instagram saying that January will be their last issue. And they said it was due to costs. They said that in their Instagram. There could have been more issues, but costs of paper and printing have doubled, as well as shipping costs. Well, we know all about that, don't we? I never stocked Pom Pom. I did try with the Lane magazine. I know you don't pronounce it like that, but I think we all say Lane in our heads, don't we? But and I know it was popular in a lot of local yarn shops. But it's just sad, isn't it, when you see things like that happening? But in good news for them, to support them, they have got dramatic sales of past issues. I'm sure Fizz has already put the link, yeah, she has, in the chat. So if you haven't got some of the issues, well, you can really take advantage of that and get it cheap. I think when I was looking, it was even 50% off. So do that if you can, if that's something that interests you, because that in turn will help them as they're trying to finish and recoup costs. And then last one, to pull or not to pull. Saw this on social media and it actually got me thinking, because we have this chat with our Knit and Natter groups every day. Well, quite a lot actually. I have social Knit and Natter groups at my shop every day. I have ladies and gents in the morning and in the afternoon. And we're often talking about this. Do you pull from the inside or out? People in the comments, write hashtag in or hashtag out. I'm going to have a go. I'm going to put... I have to say, I'm an outie. So I'm a out. How do you spell outie? I'm going to write it like that. I'm a hashtag outie. I've tried pulling from the inside, but sometimes it just gets in a muddle and in a mess. Then I get a knot. Let's see. Susan says she's an outside pull only. Okay. Margaret is an innie. Hey, Jill, good to see you. Bertie and Poppet is an outie. Oh, James is an outie. Anya, lovely to see you again. You're both. Ooh. So when you do both, Anya, is it because of a certain yarn, because you couldn't pull it, or do you just go, do you know what? I fancy pulling from the inside today. Julie's an innie. Oh, James is an outie. Lois is an innie. Oh, we've got more innies, I think. Oh, Angela. Oh, no, is it Angela or Andrea? I've forgotten now. I'm just scrolling very quickly up. I've got Andrea, yes. Lovely to see you. You've been telling lots of people nice things about me. Lovely to have you. Really appreciate it. Sue, I tend to cake everything, so then pull from the inside. And you still don't have any issues later on? You don't get those little like bundles and then it all collapsing and then getting into a knot? Outie. Oh, Fizz, you might have to count up and see who's won. Innie or outie? Some skeins need to be worked from inside. Some must be worked from the outside. Oh. So, Valerie, which is the sum? How do we know which ones have to be worked from the outside? And this is, I don't know. This is an interesting debate. That Cardiff Cashmere was their Instagram, and they had that post. Read the comments. It's fascinating. James says, I find pulling from the inside, even on caked yarn, does something to the twist. Oh, we might have to do an experiment. Sorry, Fizz, what was that? News just in. 7 out, 6 in. Outies have it. Right. Top 3. We need 4 and 3 now. You ready for the best show starter? Number 4, number 3. I've gone slightly over. Now starting to panic. Stay with us. We've only got about 10 minutes to go. I have to say I'm enjoying it. I knew it would happen. Let's go to number 4 and number 3 of the show starters. Great to see the knitted mesh top there, number 3. Well done, voters. Okay, we're going into the charts now. This is where I get to have a break and Fizz gets to copy and paste like the clappers. We have the charts each week. We're up to week 47. We have been doing it for 47 weeks since January the 1st. Every week on a Sunday, we go to Ravelry. that amazing knitting and crochet database. We look at the filter under advanced search that says hot right now. And that algorithm literally takes in the pages that everyone's looking at. So it's very topical and very current. You could go 2 days' time and it will be completely different. But we thought it'd be fun to do and to chart across the whole year. So this is week 47 of the crochet charts. You ready, Fizz, with crochet? She is indeed. Here we go. Let's see the top 10 of the crochet patterns and see if there's anything there that you like the look of. Number 6, those rude words. It's what I tend to say when I'm doing the tech with Fizz on a Friday. A great and interesting, because I get to sit and read your messages during that. What a lot of people have said after looking at the charts of going through up to number 3, James says his choice is still in the running. Woo, it's good. And then Tandy, hey Tandy, says just in time to see the favourite show starter. And Margaret, yep, you're waiting for it. It's brilliant. It's good. It's going to get even more tense when we get to it too. I've been watching too much sort of what do they do? Like X Factor and the Master Chef when they get all that tension, the drone going. Right, knitting charts. No, she's still getting ready. I'll talk a bit longer. Did you notice on the crochet any familiar names? I saw Kim Guzman, and actually, Fizz, I don't think we saw Beba Blanket. So much so that I am working with Fizz to do a special end of year show, kind of half live and half recorded. We're approaching the designers, that have appeared the most, or perhaps have had the most number ones. And I've reached out to them on email and I'm setting up interviews because it would be great to chat to some of them. And we're so trying to get a hold of Midori from Midori House, is it? For the ranunculus. Many of you have knitted the ranunculus. I know you're going to flood the chat with it now, but if any of you somehow have her email, because I can't find it anywhere. On her blog, she doesn't have a contact email. On her Instagram, she doesn't have a contact email. I've sent an email through Ravelry, but I don't know how often she'll check Ravelry. So maybe the powers of the internet, spread it out there, get to Midori and say we want to chat with her, because the ranunculus, I think, pretty much has appeared way more times than anything else. Right, I think I've padded enough. Fizz, you ready? Here we go. Here's the top 10 of knitting patterns. So there we are. And the ranunculus didn't appear. But what, if we could show you, the biker who sews has one on. No way. You're pulling my chain. Oh no. And Valerie, you're kidding me. Really? Wonderful. But it wasn't there this week. Oh, yeah. So that should be a great show to do. Looking forward to it. And again, some familiar names there in the knitting charts. It is a wonderful resource, that's for sure. I'm just having a slight inner panic that I'm looking at the rest of my slides and I can't see number 1 or number 2 for the charts. I'm not sure whether I've loaded it in. How am I going to do that whilst I chat? All right, this will be interesting. Anyway, as you can see below from Producer Fizz's ticker, brilliant. Coming up, Tube Dudes Christmas special chat. Yes, if you saw us last year, and actually spring this year, there were a group of dude YouTubers who got together to have an afternoon stroke evening. Well, you could say it's like a mini. Excuse me, I had a bit of beer and now it's coming back. A Tube Dude marathon. Every Tube Dude has an hour. And if I go to this slide, is it this one? Oh, I've gone there. There we go. Yes, I've gone to the side. This was an example. Am I that way? Yeah. This was an example of the running order for Christmas Holiday Edition last year. And look at those Tube Dudes. We had Cabin Boy Knits, me, Needles at the Ready, Piece for Piece Crafting, Girl Michael, and then it finished off with Fibre Hustle. I know many of you watch those Tube Dudes, and they are knitters, they are crocheters, they are sewers, they're all sorts. And this was an example of last year's where we started, and I think this was Eastern American time, not UK time, but we'll explain it all because we're doing it again. In 2 weeks' time, we're all getting back together again to do an hour each. So I'd be over. I'll be much better when I do the Tube Dudes because we've got to finish, ready for the next dude to take over. But you can sit from your chair and watch, well, I think it's 4 dudes this time because I think Cabin Boy Knits couldn't do it. But you could watch 4 dudes all on a trot. So just imagine that for a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday evening. How much knitting you could get done. And on our Tube Dudes, we've got something very, very special lined up. Yes. Take a look at this. Oh, yes. The Crooked Dudes. I should say the Crooked Men, really. The Crooked Dudes are going to be with us on the special Tube Dudes Christmas holiday special. Look at those two. If you don't know who the Crooked Men are, just Google it. They are 2 wonderful chaps who have brought the Crooked House in Lavenham. This wonderful orange Tudor, you know Lavenham, all the 1600s, though I think the house is even older. I think the house is like 1500s. They're going to be live on our holiday special, telling us all about the house and them. Look at them in their Tudor gear. Oh, fabulous, isn't it? Right, now, just chat amongst yourselves while I see... I literally have not loaded number 1 and number 2 into the machine. So this is good. If you're coming and now you're thinking, right, Stuart, but you and Fizz teched this. Well, technically we did, but I didn't have the films finished because I was still editing them. So it's a placeholder in my running schedule. So all those who have come over and watching for the first time, you'll be now thinking, well, this is not very good, is it? Yeah, so chat amongst yourself about the Tube Dudes. Hey, Dinky Crafts, Jennifer. I love watching the Tube Juice Marathon. Brilliant. It'll be great to have you back. You chat away. Fizz, keep them going. I'm going to see if I can do this live. It'll be nice and quiet now, won't it? Right. Oh, yeah, just bear with. Bear with. I'm still talking. There. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it's worked, everyone. It's worked. It's worked. It's worked. Yeah. Don't panic. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. The top 1 and 2 is coming. Here we go. Right. Anyway, yes. So, right, you were chatting amongst yourselves. Let's have a look what you were chatting about whilst I was gone. Would prefer a calendar. I know, Sean. Great to see you. How's your Alaska rainbow going? I mentioned it about half hour ago. Were you in then? Sean's still doing his, and it looks fabulous, by the way. Yes, go on to the tube. No, not the Tube Dudes. The Crooked Men. They've done a wonderful Tudor calendar, all raising money, and it's, as Sue says, it's just down the road. James, who came to visit, I took you. You saw the orange crooked house, didn't you? I'm loving all this chat, by the way. Sue, she's working on a ranunculus now. See, what is it? What is it about that pattern? And that's why we want to speak to Midori. So, internet, do your work. Right. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we sitting tight for the best show starter of last season? Number 1 and number 2. Some of you are probably thinking, well, I can't remember what's gone on already. Right, here we go. But actually, before we see number 1 and number 2, I want to do a little thank you. And this person has no idea of what's about to come because I kept it secret. Take a look at this. Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone. And then we'll go. Schedule ready. Beer in hand. Have you got a big mug of tea? Have you got your super big mug? That's the YouTube delay. I can hear that. How are you, first of all? Producer Fizz should appear. Just like that. Why are you not appearing? Oh, there you go. 1 second left. Oh, that's come up straight away. And then let's check your button, which your button should work. There we go. Here, Vincent, come on. Come here. Good boy. Onto your bed. Right, let's do some work. Let's do some work. I've just come back to see your message. Yeah. Now I know which way I'm turning my knob. So does it sound like a proper DJ sound? Fizz says 1962. Fizz also says 1967. Oh, you didn't cheat, Fizz. The answer is Fizz. And you didn't cheat either. Well done. He goes, I'm clicking spin now. Oh, no, there you go. So that didn't work already, did it? Absolutely that, yeah. And then I say, Fizz is there. There's the button. That works a treat. Well done, you. Thank you very much. It's so good. And it's so good being able to talk to you live. I can't believe we went so long. Great technical. Developed the show again from the technical. Buttons all work. That all works. We have enough time? Yeah, absolutely. Calls for a high 10 and a finish. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? fabulous. Been really fun. Great technical. Developed the show again from the technical. How much fun do we have? Everyone, get your hands ready. Let's do one huge high 10 for PF Producer Fizz. 3, 2, 1. We do it. You can see it. There we are. So my computer records when we do a live, because we are doing it live. We don't just meet up over the internet. It's going through YouTube to check the sound levels, check latency, and everything. So Friday nights, we're there for about 2 hours. So that's a lot of someone's time to give up, and it's just invaluable to the whole show, to everything. And it has certainly made the show. Could not do this show live. You can see from there, we try this, we try that, that doesn't work, push the button. It's when we get to trial things. And that's one thing we said right from the beginning. We want to give you a polished show of an hour and 16 minutes. But because we know how precious your time is, you come to watch knitting, well, in the olden days, knitting and sewing content. And we want to give you that directly. And so you get that rather than then other chats and which is fine if you like that type of podcast, and in some evenings you do want that type of podcast. So I know our content is not for everyone, but those people like you who keep coming back clearly do like that type of content. But it couldn't be done without Producer Fizz, and I have had a blast Friday nights or the odd Saturday when something's come up, doing our tech to give a great show for you, full of all the stuff that you want to see. If you have any ideas for future content, I'm not precious over anything. You let us know. If you don't like something, we'll chuck it out. If you've got ideas for something, let us know and we'll do it. And if we end up going to a 2-hour show, well, there you go. Although, we'll have to see. But yes, seriously though, Producer Fizz is brilliant. And I love it. And now all this technology here, like this, all done from Producer Fizz now. So we're growing together. It's great teamwork, and the community is growing together. And I can see it all there. People know, it's the oiling, the machine is Producer Fizz, and all those there. Comments in the chat there. Fizz, that's for you. I know I don't drink on screen, but there you go. There's a raise a glass to you. Right, I've teased you enough for number 1, number 2. Well, you kind of know which 2 it is, so I'm going to reveal it in a clever way. Right, I've got to find it on my... Oh, where's it gone again? Is it gone again? Oh, I think I just deleted it. Oh, man. Yeah, I deleted it again. Right, you're going to have to bear with. Where did that go to? Right, hang on. 30 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, there we go. Right, let's put me there. Oh, no, that's not me. That's me. I'm down here now. Here we go. Right, here is the which is number 1. I'm going to press play, and then you're definitely going to see it because you've been hanging along too long. The best show starter, number 1 or number 2. Which one's it going to be? Here we go. The tablecloth shirt won it pretty much by a mile. Yes. Thank you for everyone that voted. Out of all those makes from the first live season, the tablecloth shirt won. And do you know what? It's actually more special to me for that because I made it. Because so many things are done by others. Colin has made loads, Irene has made loads, so many friends of the Woolpatch has made show starters because I couldn't do it in time. But this one was a real wonderful project. Taught to me by Carol many of the techniques. As Sean said there, it's the Fairfield shirt. Sean, you said it some while ago. Can I find it quick enough? Ooh, I don't think I can. Oh yes, there we go. Sean, still hoping to do a Fairfield shirt sew along. It's still there. I want to do it because this was kind of that pattern with the plackets and everything. And then to dye it lavender and blue too, and a tablecloth from the past, that whole idea of reusing it and bringing back to life to something that's not being used anymore rather than chucking it. It was wonderful. So to see that win was fabulous. But this will make you laugh. Look what I've done. Don't worry, I didn't rip it. I have purposely chosen to take it off because it was a bit on the wonky donk. One viewer wonderfully spotted it when I released it in July, that the collar was just off, and I thought, do you know what, it is. So I'm going to practice doing it again, but I've wonderfully unpicked it because I'm not ruining that collar, because look at that. Look at that placement of the pattern. So I'm slowly unpicking it, and I will redo it. I might even actually as well, because I wasn't too convinced about the button band. You can kind of see it's a bit too crinkly, and I think Andrea, you're a sewer and an expert, aren't you? When you use interfacing that's not woven, it can often do that, can't it? So I might rip that button band off as well and keep it without interfacing, so it's a lot more fluid and everything. Well, there we are. 22 minutes past 9. I think that might be a record. Hey, Fizz? Oh, before you go, everyone, it's finally here. Grundle sock yarn. I know Jill loves Grundle. It's finally come to the shop, and yes, it's European, and I've paid a big bill for shipping, but who cares, because it's lovely. Look at this, everyone. I heard gasps from you all. Oh, how do I do it like that? Are you ready to gasp again? Perfect self-striping yarn. Not like the West Yorkshire Spinners that's a bit Fair Riley. This is my favourite colourway. Don't you love it? I can hear your gasps from here. Look at that. 2 more colours and then we'll finish, I promise. There we go. So hot socks, Medina yarn. Do you know what, Fizz? Everybody... My camera broke earlier this week, and I was like, how are we going to do the show? And on Friday, with the tech, we teched with my iPhone. It's just an iPhone 12, I think, or 11. I have to say the camera quality, I think, is better, because these colours are exactly the same. I haven't faffed around with lens. What do you call it? Shutter speed and everything, which causes me so much hassle. I've literally just pointed and shooted. And I have to say, I think it's good, isn't it, everyone? These colours are proper what you see. Anyway, there we go. We've talked far too long, and you need to go and watch something else or get ready for bed, because I'm normally in bed by 9:30. It's been wonderful, everyone. The chat has been electric. Oh, so Natasha as well. Yeah, get the right... I will, yeah. Or not use any, or woven. No, not woven. No, woven, yes. Instagram, DM me, Natasha, let me know. They see, I heard you. I heard your gasp. Julie, yeah, it's on the website now, but I didn't think I was going to do this, so Fizz hasn't even got the link for it. So don't blame her. Thank you, everyone. Absolutely lovely having your company. Lovely having your company in the chat. Here's to a year. raise your knitting needles, your crochet hook, your drop spindle. Yeah, you probably can't pick up your spinning wheel, can you? And to a year of lives. And our next live is 2 weeks. This time in 2 weeks, but we're on a bit earlier. Fizz, I think we're on at 6 o'clock, I think. Which for Fizz is going to, because she's on the other side of of America. She'll be up very early. Oh, Andrea, right. Okay, I shall look at that. So 2 weeks, it'd be lovely to have you. It's kind of a different show because it's tube dudes and it's sort of celebrating dudey things. I'll be talking about a crochet craft project. This new designer on Instagram has got some wonderful techniques using the Jasmine crochet stitch. If you want to try and have a look, Google it. It's phenomenal. That's what I'm going to have in my house at Christmas. And actually, my Christmas decorations go up next weekend. Can't wait. No way. Fizz has just told me she's put a tree up a week ago. Oh, well, because you have Thanksgiving, I suppose, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, love you and leave you. It's been lovely seeing you. Say bye to everyone in the chat. Say bye, Fizz. See ya and speak to you all in 2 weeks. It's been fabulous. See you all.